Yeah, if I was to sit over there, I don't know what would happen. It would be different. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. Real quick, where's the edge? Okay, there we go. All right, raise your hand if you were here this morning. Just kind of get a little bit of an idea. Okay, great. Raise your hand if you weren't here this morning. Okay, raise your hand if you just don't like raising your hand. Okay, all right. Well, thanks for doing that anyways. We appreciate that, and thanks for letting me know. All right, well, we're gonna kind of talk about marriage again this evening, but kind of from a little bit different view. This morning was a bit of like, okay, let's change some things, what needs to change. And tonight I want to talk about really how to kill your marriage. Just thanks, Dad, how to kill your marriage. Because sometimes we don't know how to do it. But here's the thing. We come at no matter where we're from, we come at our marriages a little different from our backgrounds. When Becca and I got married, we found we had some very different ideas about some certain things. Because we're just raised differently. For instance, when she was mowing the lawn growing up.
Oh my goodness, when I was mowing the lawn, you guys, all of the other teen girls in the neighborhood looked so cute in their swimsuits, and they were just out there. I mean, it was like not the riding mower, but it was still like they were looking cute. And my dad, we call Captain Safety, he was a physician, and so no joke, we had to have not steel-toed boots, but closed-toed boots. We had to have long jeans, long shirts. We had to have eye protection, ear protection. So I am out there I look like the freak of the neighborhood, and his experience was different.
So us growing up was a little bit, Dad would be out there mowing, and we would play mower tag, which mower tag was Dad would be on the rider mowing, and we would have to sneak up and see if we could touch the mower without him hooting. And if he went, whoo, that meant he saw you. So we'd fall out of trees, we'd sneak around corners, we'd jump out from behind things, and Beck's like, you didn't die. And I'm like, no.
I mean, camping for my family was in the middle of the winter. My parents let us sleep in the upper level of our barn if we had our hats on, or the summer. In the middle of the summer, most of your heat escapes through your head, so you need to have your hat on. Camping for him was his parents, when he was 12 years old, dropped him off for 4 or 5 days in the Manistee National Forest, and we're like, okay, go find some food.
It was fun. It was a really good time. But it was just different.
Lived.
There's so many things that were just completely different that our normal was this, and her normal's like, well, that's not normal, and is that okay? And is that going to be okay? Well, there's some things that you might think are normal, and they might be okay to be normal, or they might really be marriage killers. So 1 Corinthians 13 says this, 1 Corinthians 13:4. They call this the love chapter. And it says, love is patient, love is kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable. It keeps no record of wrongdoing. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. So if you want to know how to kill your marriage, it's just do the exact opposite of that. It's do the exact opposite. But here's the thing. If that's our normal, sometimes we don't even realize it because that's just what was normal to us. Yeah. Because we grew up that way, and we're like, well, it's perfectly normal. We get in the car, and we have kids, and she grew up, and you get in the car. You get in the car, and mom and dad do the
contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Contact was when your seatbelt had clicked, you could say your number.
Okay, for us it was a little different. If I didn't make it in the car by the time Dad started to leave, he would just go, the doors open, and he's like, jump in. If you make it, good. If you don't, you'll be here when I get back.
I always say, I'm like, well, all of them survived, and then I'm like, or did they? Do I just not know about a couple?
So for me, that was just normal. And then this whole hey, you got... So what is your normal? I don't know. But the opposite of this is what will kill your marriage. So what is the opposite? We're going to rearrange the order just a little bit to hit some of the more prominent ones, I think. And so I want to start with pride. Here's what it says. It says, love is patient. It is not jealous or boastful or proud. Well, if you have pride in your relationship, it will kill it. So what does that look like in a relationship? In a marriage? Pride is unteachable. You can't tell me. You can't tell me something. It's, are you teachable? And this one is, I don't think anybody really loves being told they're wrong. They're like, oh, that's just my absolute favorite. Even though we know we've never learned something from somebody who agreed with us. But it's still not fun. I remember years ago, I was walking through the concourse down here. There's a bunch of people out there, and I'm carrying one of the kids. I don't remember which one it was, but I've got one of the kids in my arm, and I'm just walking through, and somebody comes up to me, and as I've got, I think it was Avery. I think it was Avery. I think I've got Avery right here, and somebody comes up to me, and they're like, hey, you shouldn't hold the baby that way, because if you do, and the baby does this, and you could drop the baby, and it could fall, and it could really get... And I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Why are you telling, what is this? Why are do you just randomly walk up to people with babies all the time? Like, hey, by the way, you're going to drop your baby phone. What are you doing? That's the first thing that runs through my mind. And it only takes a bloop, that fast. But then I'm like, well, wait a second. Maybe he was dropped as a child. That's what happened. But no, I'm serious. This is my story, okay? And this is what happened. I'm like, well, maybe he was dropped, or maybe that's what he saw happen, and he really cares about it. And if you've had children or held a baby, you know they're suicidal. That you hold them and they want somewhere, and they're like, ugh! They just throw themselves towards the ground. And so, but my first reaction wasn't, oh, thank you for caring for my baby, and it was none of that. It was, what are you doing? Why are you telling me this? And then it sinks in, and maybe that whole thing took 3 or 4 seconds before I was like, actually, he's probably right. And the crazy thing is, every one of our kids, we have 5 kids, every time I held them in one arm, I thought about what that guy said, and I always held on to their leg at the same time.
Yeah.
And I never dropped any of them. So maybe it worked.
Right?
But it's that being corrected thing, it's not fun.
Mm-mm.
And then when it's our spouse, the person that we care about I care about what she thinks more than anybody else. And so when she says it and she corrects me, it's not the same as somebody I just randomly meet in the hallway. Because her words, they weigh more than anybody else's. It's not fun. But pride is what stops us from being teachable. Mm-hmm. Pride is what stops us from being teachable.
Yeah, another layer that I would add on that is our culture does this thing where we have created a narrative around in-laws that says, oh, it's my mother-in-law, or oh, that's my father-in-law, or oh, my in-laws. What's the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Outlaws are wanted, all of these different things. And I just want to say that as the church, we should look very, very different. We want to receive correction not only from our spouses, but we want to be willing to be corrected and instructed by our in-laws. And when you look at the Word of God, there were some in-laws that gave some really bad advice, and then there were in-laws that gave some really good advice. You look at Jethro coming in and instructing Moses on how to lead so that he could carry it and sustain it for a long time. You look at Ruth and Naomi, and you're like, man, if Ruth had not listened to Naomi, Jesus was in that lineage. Yeah. And so I want to really encourage you not to write somebody off because our culture says that this is a relationship that you roll your eyes at. I want to encourage you to look at the fruit. Is it Holy Spirit fruit? Is what they're saying, is this godly advice? Because I'm telling you, the in-law relationships in the church should be a really, really beautiful thing.
So if you have no-go areas, topics that you just know, hot buttons, you're like, if I even bring this up, it is not going to be good. That's not good. It's not good having, because here's what happens. We don't bury things and we're like, well, I'll just keep the peace. And so we're not going to talk about this, and we're not going to talk about this. Oh, we probably shouldn't talk about that. And we definitely don't want to talk about how they spend on this. And we definitely don't want, what you end up with, you don't end up with a bunch of love ferns. They're landmines.
Yeah.
It's a relationship where you tiptoe around one another because we can't talk about any of these things. And you get around them and you're like, okay, well, that's good, and I can't say this, and I got to bring this up, but we can't say, it doesn't help. Here's what Proverbs says, Proverbs 1, verse 5, let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. Proverbs 1, 7, fools despise wisdom and instruction. I heard a pastor say one time, he said, touchiness is stupid's armor. Don't be touchy. Is there a topic that you're just, like, the minute somebody even says it, you're just like, oh, that's probably something you need to work on.
Yeah.
That should be a warning, like, oops, that's something for me that I need to work on.
Well,
what is it?
It makes me think of Molly getting slivers.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Molly is 17 now. She'd probably still do this. She might still have a sliver right now and not be telling us. But Molly would get a sliver when she was 2 or 3, and she wouldn't tell us. She would not say anything. And finally, I don't know how much time had gone by, but Avery would come up to us and she'd be like, oh, Molly made me promise not to tell you, but I have to tell you because it's looking really gross. But Molly got a sliver like 2 weeks ago and she hasn't said anything. It's on the bottom of her foot. And we'd go look at these slivers. And it's like nasty and
pussy,
infected and so
gross.
And that's kind of what these no-go topics can do, is we think like, oh no, it'll just go away on its own. But really it's an opportunity for infection. I think too about, I don't remember what the deal was. Maybe it was after Avery was born, and there were just a bunch of different complications with her birth, and so we got all these bills, and they were huge and very daunting for me. I came from a physician's family, and I married a pastor, and so I wanted to be very good about being good about money and that sort of thing. And I remember the bills came in, and I looked at them, and I was so scared. I was like, well, we'll talk about it, we'll figure it out. Well, I just forgot about it. And months later, he's going through a cabinet, and he finds bills that aren't paid. And what I thought, like, oh, we'll just not have the conversation, we won't do this, turned into a big deal. But really, what happened is when I finally was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and he was so incredibly gracious, what we realized is he's like, I'll handle the bills. I didn't even realize this was an issue. And so sometimes we think it's going to be really, really, really hard to bring it up, but that person is put in our lives to help us, to help carry all of those different things that we're trying to carry in life. Like I said this morning, we are meant to be a team.
And you're on my team. Come on. So if there's a touchy, take care of it. Take the time. And be careful with those words, because she can hurt me. The things that she can say to me are completely, like, it could just rip me apart. You could say it. Somebody else could say it, and it just bounces right off. And you're like, well, but they're so tough, and they're so this, and they're so that. Yeah, absolutely, but they're not supposed to be with you. Mm-hmm. So be careful with your words, because we want to use it to build each other up. And then here's the next one. The next one is this, is love keeps no record of wrong. If you want to absolutely kill your marriage, keep record of wrong. Keep record of wrong, because they're going to make mistakes. Every single person does. But here's what marriage is meant to be. Marriage is meant to be the relationship where she knows me best. She knows everything about me. Like, we are open and naked in every way with each other. She knows all about everything about me, and she still loves me.
Yeah.
She knows it all. It's not supposed to be where I'm hiding this and you can't know that. She knows it all. She knows about how when I walk and I go like this, it's because I'm kind of bored and I'm shooting lasers out of my hands. And so sometimes she's like,
what you shooting?
She'll catch me. She's like, stop with the lasers. Just stop. And I'm like, well, it makes me walk faster. I don't know. But she knows all of it. And she still loves me. Yeah. You're looking at me like, I should not have come tonight. He shoots lasers out of his hands when he walks. They're not real lasers. It's in my mind. Anyway. But she knows all of that. And that's what it's meant to be. But if you're keeping record, and I give her so much ammo. If she was to keep and remember everything that I do, And here's the thing, I think she remembers. Like she's got a vault where all that stuff seems to go. And if she wanted to, every disagreement, she could come out with, well, remember this, and you said this, and you did this, and you bought that, and you did this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't show up, and remember this, and we got married, and you said this, and we were dating, and you said, and we never did, and you were going to be there, and we never. I wouldn't even want to be in the same room as her if she did that. None of us would. None of us would want to walk or even spend time with a walking reminder of every mistake that we've ever been in. But guess what love does? Love keeps no record of wrong. In fact, Colossians says this in Colossians 3:13. It says, bear with one another and forgive any complaint you may have against someone else, forgiving as the Lord forgave. Yeah. So how are we supposed to forgive? We're supposed to forgive the way that Jesus forgave. Psalms 103:12. As far as the east is from the west, this tells us how Christ forgives us. Yeah. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Yeah. Now, if he had said north and south, that's a long ways, but eventually you go far enough north that now you're going south. East and west, that's different. You go east and you never stop. He's like, that's how far he's removed it. Yeah. Forgiveness isn't, well, I forgive you until I need this later. Yeah. And then I'm going to remind you of what you said and how you didn't, when you should have, and how they didn't.
Well, and there's already somebody that does that. Satan is the accuser of the brethren. There's somebody that's going to do that. Listen, we had a disagreement, and I'm telling you guys about all my disagreements today. I hope. We had a disagreement, I don't know, it's probably a couple of years ago, and, I was sitting on our bed, the bed was made, and I was sitting there, and I was eating popcorn in a made bed. And he came in, and he had literally just brought me dinner in the room a little bit prior to this. So he brought me dinner, and then, okay, I'm done with dinner, and then I'm eating popcorn in the bed. And he came in, he's like, oh, can you go sit on the couch and eat the popcorn? And I was like, no, I'm happy here, And he's like, no, I would really like you to go sit on the couch and eat the popcorn. And I was like, oh, but I'm happy here. He's like, I really don't want you to eat popcorn in our bed. And I was like, I just ate dinner in the bed. And you guys, I did not have a good response. I got up and I'm like, I'll go to the couch. And I took the bowl of popcorn and I threw it on him.
On the bed.
And I left on the bed. The popcorn is on the bed everywhere. So, not something I recommend you doing, but we did. I mean, in the moment, he was awesome. He just looks at me, he's like, did you really do that? And then we're both cleaning up.
Who can sleep with popcorn?
No.
Nobody. That does not belong in bed, in case you're wondering.
So we together are cleaning up this popcorn, picking up all the pieces, and I'm vacuuming, and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? And he's saying, why did you do that? I had to apologize, and it was awesome, but here's the deal. A few months after that, we had already figured it all out. It was a one and done, super quick. A few months after that, I'm looking through a basket, and what do I find? I find a kernel of popcorn. And Satan was seriously, with this silly little kernel of popcorn, like, Beck, remember when you had that bad reaction? And I think that's what Satan wants to do. He wants to take all of those things that your spouse has done wrong, that you've done wrong. He's already bringing them up. He's like, hey, see this kernel of popcorn? See this thing they did wrong? So he already has somebody doing his bidding. You do not need to do it for him. And I want to say here, there is something very different about accusing your spouse and using something against them and working together with them to say, hey, it is my job to make you and allow you to grow more and more like Christ, because I want to get to heaven and I want to see him walk up to it's not Satan, him walk up to Jesus, and I want to see him in front of Jesus, and I want to say, I knew it. I knew that's who you were. The whole time, I watched you get closer and closer and closer to this man. And I want to be on the team that says, I believe in you. And we're going to do this.
Come on. It's a good team to be on. We're doing lots of high fives.
That's like the most high fives and fist bumps we've done in a long time.
Because that's like PG. We can do that in front of these guys. Next one, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right, next one. Not irritable. Love isn't irritable. It's a saying, it shouldn't be, but it is, but there's a saying. You probably have heard it before. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. No, don't let that be at home. Don't let it be this is, I'm just a man and this is how I deal with stress. Don't let that be the case. Don't settle for, this is just it. Well, I had a bad day. Don't be irritable. Don't allow that normal to be what you bring home. Don't go spend the day and give your best at work and with the kids and in all of these things and then come home and be like, oh, it's just a horrible day. It was awful. It was no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you come home and you bring all of your good, you give it everywhere else, and then you get home and you're like, well, now I'm done. And now you just turn into grouchy pants and all. Now I'm irritable. Why? Well, I'm just worn out. Well, what do you mean you're worn out? I'm just worn out. It's been a horrible day.
Mm-hmm.
No, love is not irritable.
Yeah.
It's not irritable. Don't let something be your excuse for why you come home and you aren't your best.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anything be your excuse. Well, I'm just a man. No, don't let anything. I love this verse in Proverbs. It says this, Proverbs 31, it says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her. So he will have no lack of gain. Verse 12, and she does him good, not evil, all the days of her life. Another way of saying that same verse is this, and she does him good, not evil, all the days of the month. Mm-hmm. It just hits a little bit different. But don't let anything be your excuse. Yeah. Don't let, work was this pressure. Oh, this is just how I deal with it. Or it's just this time that I am, and so now I'm just, a little demon horn manifests from you, and you just turn mean. Don't do it. Don't let anything.
This is another one of those places that I think culture is like, oh no, you're worn out and you need to be able to be yourself at home. And that's where, and we do. We want to be able to be vulnerable. We want to be able to be cared for at home. We want home to be a place where we can rest and we can recoup. But I think sometimes the world can feed us something and think it's really good for us. So we had our youngest almost 9 years ago and had him at home. And so I had at home, all the electrolytes that you have to have afterwards, and it was really, really important that I get the electrolytes, and so I had prepped everything to make a really nice environment, and somebody came in and they're like, okay, I'm gonna get you some of those electrolytes. I said, great, they're in the laundry room, it's just right in that door, you'll see it, it's super, super clear. And so they went and they got me the electrolytes, brought them back, and it was, about a cup, probably like about that, 4, 5, 6 ounces. And, I'm drinking these electrolytes, and I take a sip, and I'm like, oh, these are bad. These are really bad electrolytes. I never had electrolytes. That's probably part of the story. But I'm like, these are really bad. And I'm telling him, I'm like taking a sip, and I'm like, these are really bad. Like, this is burning. And he's like, well, babe, you gotta drink them. You gotta drink them. And so I'm like, okay, I'll drink them. And I'm like, oh, it's like burning. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be really tough about this. I can handle some things. I just had a baby. I can handle drinking 6 ounces of electrolytes. So I'm gulping. I take a couple of gulps, and I probably make it through about 4 ounces of this. And then, the next day I get up, and I'm like, I'm going to go start a load of laundry. And so I go in, and I go to start a load of laundry, and I get to the box where all of my birthing stuff was, and I see my electrolyte container, and it's closed, sealed. And I'm like, I drank some of this yesterday, but it is like, I pick it up, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is sealed. It's just clear electrolytes. And this was in that phase when it was really popular to make your laundry soap look pretty by putting it into beverage dispensers. I had drank 4 ounces of laundry detergent about an hour after giving birth. Totally fine, Bo's totally fine, but listen, sometimes people will feed you something that they think is good for you that's actually toxic. Everything will preach.
All right, next one. Love does not lose faith. This is believing the best. This is the framing mindset for how we see the things that our spouses do. It's just framing it and being like, okay, what is my mindset? Where am I going with this? We had a project that we decided that we were going to do around the house. And it was on my list of things to do, was to build a fence around the garden and orchard, because we have a ton of deer around, and they're just destroying everything. You plant a tree, they come in, they killed the tree, I gave it for birthday, and like, we got to do this fence. Well, we had talked about this fence, and it was on the list of things to do, but it wasn't at the top, and it was going to be expensive, and so we're like, okay, we need to do this, and I'm like, all right, and I done I like to research. Who likes to research? Anybody in here like, oh, yeah. And the internet is really good. Okay, so I'm on there, and I'm figuring out exactly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this. Well, I got a picture of what I'm going to do with this fence. We talked about this beautiful, big old fence we're going to put up. Well, Becca is like, we need to do that fence. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that fence. She goes, well, really? Why don't you just do the electric fence that the Bill did? And I'm like, yeah, I got this all figured out. I'll go ahead and do it. So I go out, and I'd already done all the research, and I knew what we needed, so I found the best deal and the best place to get it. So I went out and I bought 660 feet of 8-foot-high fixed knot fence. And then I go and I'm like, I know where the posts are that we need to get this. So I go and I drive all the way up north. I get a trailer and I drive up north. I go buy 60 12-foot posts. What was it? 32 5-inchers, 28 6-inchers for the corners. We got H braces. Like, these are some serious posts. We do all of this. I get that over at the house. I get all of the cross braces and the twine, and I get everything that we're going to need to do this. And I've got everything except an auger. I need an auger for the tractor. I got 3 days set aside. I'm going to do this. We are going to get this done. So I'm like, babe, come with me. And she goes, what? I said, hey, you want to run with me? We got to go get this auger. I found one. She says, okay. So we go down to the store and we go get this thing. And we're pulling out of Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We're still in the parking lot. And I've got this 12-inch auger we're going to use. And that day, I'm like, we're getting, the next morning, I've got everything lined up. I'm just going to work. We're going to get this whole fence in. And I look over at Beck and I go, hey, are you excited? And she goes, for what?
In my defense, we were leaving for Utah in like 2 days. So.
And I'm like, for the fence. Are you excited for the fence? And she goes, I'm actually nervous it's going to be ugly.
I go, well, no.
And I just go, what do you mean? I'm like, we talked about this. This is what we said we were going to do. And she goes, no. She goes, we talked about it. And I told you what I wanted, but you didn't listen. And I go, I totally listened. I heard what you said. I heard you say you wanted a fence and that you would settle for a fence like the neighbor had. And I was like, I'm not going to let you settle for this stupid electric fence. I'll do it. Yeah, it's going to be a ton of work and a bit more money, but I'll get it done. I'm like, I heard you, but I knew, but then I didn't think that's what you actually wanted. And she goes,
that's what I wanted.
That's what I wanted. So I've got they showed you the posts. I got all the posts. I got the tractor. I got the 3-point thing. I got all the stuff and the wire. And we're pulling out of the driveway. And she's like, so? And I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, for what? She's like, are you doing the fence? And I'm like, I'm sorry you didn't just tell me. Like, what? Why? Why didn't you just tell me? Because this wasn't like one day. This was like a couple
2 weeks of the gathering.
Oh yeah, just gathering this stuff and going to get it and doing all this. I go, why didn't you tell me? And she goes, well, I thought I told you. And you just didn't want to do it, so I was going to let you do what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, I'm so sorry that you didn't think you could just come up and say it. I said, I thought I was like being a hero.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, my wife wants this. Everywhere I go, I'm buying all this stuff. And they're like, what are you buying all this for? I'm like, for my wife. I'm an amazing husband. Like, I'm doing this for her, obviously. And they're like, wow, that's pretty good. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, the fence post guy was like, your wife was pretty like, we had that conversation. I'm not preaching this. I was like, that's real. That happened.
Yeah.
Not that preaching things don't really happen. But it's... And I'm like, I'm so sorry that you thought I wasn't paying attention to what you were doing. And she's like, well, I'm sorry, and we're sorry, and we're sorry.
It was just really funny, and we sold it all.
We did. We're like, well, we're getting rid of it. She doesn't want them. Like, I haven't even, the fun part hadn't even started. I hadn't done any of the holes or put anything together.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was literally like, wait, this was going to take me like 3 days. He said, I don't have to do any of it. That's awesome.
Oh, and those posts give you slivers just looking at them. Like, every time you touch them, I'm like, But I was getting ready to do it. But we have to, love doesn't lose faith. Love believes the best.
Yeah.
Love is the framework by which we see things. Mm-hmm. And it takes what we see and changes it. When we just assume the worst, it doesn't matter what our spouses do. They can give flowers and we're like, I bet that's because you did something wrong.
Right.
They give you a gift and you're like, oh yeah, what's this to cover up? Like, it's just the framework. It's how you see it. She said what she wanted. She wanted the little cheap electric fence thing that's really easy to put in. But what I heard was, I'll settle for this because you haven't done it yet, and I know it's expensive, but we just won't do it. But that's not what she said. She didn't say the things, but I heard what she said, but I translated it into something that she didn't say. And then did a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't need to do. But love assumes the best.
Yeah.
And it says, I'm not going to just assume, oh, well, they're not doing it right or they don't love me. No, I'm going to assume that you are madly, deeply in love with me.
Yes.
And you realize that you are just married to me and you're so lucky. And yes. That's what we need to assume. But that's what love does, is it doesn't lose faith. It doesn't give up. And it frames everything that they do in the positive. And even if we have to stop and be like, hold on, no, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, this has been wrong before. And we already talked about how to forgive. But I'm not just going to assume that you got it wrong. I'm going to assume you've gotten it wrong so many times by now you've got to get it right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can look at everything one of two ways, right? I've seen so many cops on the road, there couldn't be any more in front of me. Or there's probably another one. Or I haven't seen any, so there's probably one. Like, it's all the way that we frame it.
Yeah.
So framing our relationships and what we do and choosing to believe the best and realizing that what they have for us is good.
You know, one of the things I would say here too is every time we preach on marriage particularly, we have people that talk to us and they're like, you know what, my marriage is falling apart. And I want to say, even when it comes to this, keep believing the best. Sometimes it's hard when what's right in front of us looks just flat out bad. But I want to say that as believers, when I say to somebody, hey, listen, there is hope for your marriage, and that may even be miraculous hope. People say, oh, I don't believe in miracles. And I'm like, listen, if we are the body of believers, every single one of us should be able to say, I believe in miracles. Because if you think about it, we believe, if we profess Christ, what we're saying is we're saying that we recognize that a virgin gave birth to a Messiah who lived a sinless life, went and died on the cross, rose again for 3 days, ascended into heaven, and paid for our sins. That's what I profess as a believer. So if I think that I don't believe in the miraculous, but I say I'm a believer, I'm wrong. Your knowledge, your ideology already affords you the belief in miracles. So apply that to everything in your life. Apply that to your marriage. Say, God, like, I'm going to do everything in the natural that I know to do to save my marriage, to stay believing in my marriage, but I'm going to trust you to show up in the supernatural. I'm going to trust that miracles still do exist.
And you can't control another person. I've tried. I cannot control her. Like, it doesn't work. The whole popcorn thing.
I did go to the couch, though.
Later, yeah, with more popcorn. Anyways. all you can do is you can say, I'm going to do my part. I can't control you. It's not dependent on you. Which, by the way, that is what marriage is. Marriage is a predecision of how you're going to treat another person. That's what you declare on your wedding day. For better or worse, till death do us part. I'm going to do my part, regardless of what she does. Not if she does it right, if she does it the way that I like, when I like. No. That's what marriage is. It's a predecision. I'm going to love you, and I'm going to believe the best about you no matter what. And I can't control you, but when we do that, we open the doors as wide as they can be for our spouses to grow, to get better, to be forgiven, to see Christ in us, and for God to work in our relationship. Because God's blessing is on his way. It's not on what we ask him to bless. You can ask him to bless anything you want, but his blessing is on his way, so do it his way, and his blessing will be there. He will not bless anything that is sin. He will not bless something that's wrong. So do it his way, and his blessing will be there. His blessing will be there, and you need it in your marriage and in your life. Come on.
And I would say, too, just on that, prayer is super powerful. Be praying. Be praying. When we're talking about love is always hopeful, it doesn't give up. The word tells us in James 5 that Elijah was a human as we are. And it says, and yet when he prayed that no rain would fall, none fell for 3.5 years. No rain for 3.5 years. And then it says, and when he prayed again, the sky sent down rain. And then it says this little piece. It says, and the crops came up. Do you know what that means? That means that even in 3.5 years of no rain, people were believing and planting seeds. And so it does not matter. If your marriage looks like it's in a drought, you keep planting seeds, keep planting seeds, keep planting seeds, because you don't know when that rain falls what's going to spring up if you don't.
Come on. That was great. Secret 5, because we already did enough. Okay. Well, we're out of time here, and I would love to just do 2 things. One is I want to start with a prayer over every marriage that's represented today. So if you are married and they are here, if you could reach over and just hold hands. If you're married and they're not here, you can just hold your own hand. But I want to pray over the marriages that are here this morning. So if you would just bow your heads and close your eyes a minute. God, I just come before you this morning. I thank you for every couple that's here, whether one or both. And I just ask that you would give wisdom and understanding, give strength, boldness to every one of these couples, that you would open up eyes to see how they can serve one another. As they leave this place and there's areas that they realize that they have been touchy and unwilling to talk about or even go there. I pray for grace for one another as they leave and begin to remove landmines that have been in their marriages, and as they move closer to what you have called them to do in their marriage and how to love one another. For those that need to forgive, and they've got a pattern of bringing it up every single time they need to, I thank you that you will quicken them by your Spirit to let it go. Strengthen us to forgive the way that you forgave us, which is removing it from as far as the east is to the west. You don't hold it over our head. You realize you paid for it all. Thank you for strength for every one of these marriages here today. In Jesus' name. If you just keep your heads bowed and your eyes closed. If you're here this evening, you've never made Jesus the Lord of your life, I want to give you the opportunity to do that. The most important decision that you will ever make is to say, God, I need you. To say, God, I believe that you paid the price for me, and today I want to be forgiven. I want to be set free from my past, and I want to begin to live out the plan and purpose you have for me. If that's you, I'd love the honor of praying with you this morning. If that's you, then at the count of 3, I want you to lift your hand. I want you to lift it high. And when you lift it, you're saying, I want to be set free. I'm going to be forgiven. I'm going to walk out the plan and purpose God has for me. Get ready if that's you. Don't be shy. On the count of 3. 1, you say, I want to be forgiven. I want to be set free. Tonight is my night. I'm going to leave here knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt where I stand with God. 1, 2, 3. Shoot it up right now. Say, that's me. Today is my day. Today's the day I'm going to go and be forgiven. I'm going to be set free. Include me. Thank you. Anybody else say, include me. Include me. Pray with me. Thank you. Awesome. Would everybody go ahead and put your hands down? Would everybody just repeat after me? Say this out loud with those that lifted their hands. And you that lifted your hands, as you say these words, you say them from your heart. God's about to meet you right where you are. And when we say amen, you're going to be a brand new person on the inside. All together, everybody out loud. Everybody say, Jesus, forgive me and make me new. Today, I give you my life. I believe you came, died, shed your blood so I could be free. Come rule and reign in my life. From now on, God, I'm yours. With all that I am, I'm going to live for you. In Jesus' name.